Question on just some of the particulars of worship. How do you determine what instruments or music is biblical to use in a worship service? Dealing with instrumentation?
Historically, there have been differences of opinion on the use of musical instruments. Some people say, of course we should use musical instruments because the Psalms talk about musical instruments. And if you want to be biblical, then isn't that biblical warrant for the use of musical instruments? On the other side, you have someone like John Calvin, who, is a fairly good Reformed resource. And John Calvin said all the use of the musical instruments in the Psalms were part of the sacrificial system of the temple. And so just as the sacrifices referred to in the Psalms are fulfilled in Christ, so the musical instruments are fulfilled in Christ. And so Calvin had no musical instruments in his churches.
I don't believe the early church for the first 1,000 years used musical instruments.
Correct.
And the Reformed churches for at least 250 years didn't use musical instruments.
If you're going to use instruments, they have to serve the singing of God's people and not overwhelm the singing of God's people. And that's a problem with a lot of contemporary music, that you can't hear the melody or you can't hear the singing. It's all about instruments. And I think all Reformed people would agree that's not appropriate.
And the besetting sin of instrumentalists is the failure to understand that they have one job, and that is to support the congregations in its singing. They should be careful not to overwhelm the congregation. It's not a time for them to display their musical virtuosity and confuse the congregation by deviating from the melody to the extent that the congregation is not able to follow it. But the purpose of the instruments is to beautify, to support, and encourage the congregation in its singing. Never to overwhelm, support it.